ICQ Podcast, episode 465, UK Hamfest Review, Part 1. Well, hello fellow Amsham Radio enthusiasts and welcome to episode 465 of the ICQ Amsham Radio Podcast, supported this episode by monthly subscription donors. This episode is a special release episode where we look at some of the news and interviews that we conducted at UK Hamfest last week, with the second part of the interviews coming to you in our regular episode next weekend. Now, I say shows like this are only possible with your very kind support, and we would really do appreciate if you would consider us by visiting icqpodcast.com/donate, where you can send a donation to us to show your value and appreciation for the work your presenters done at UK Hamfest by clicking on one of our very handy links there. Just to remind you, all presenters paid their own way to go to Newark and the time to edit the news for you, etc. to this show. So please do consider, if you get value from the show, of sending that value to us by visiting icqpodcast.com/donate. But we start this episode as we review the special release of the major hardware news for UK Hamfest. Chris Kolkoff, Golf 1, Victor Delta Papa, tells us about the ICOM 7300 Mark II.
Well, it's Saturday afternoon. It's quieting down a little bit here at the National Hamfest. And I've been told by Sam, the marketing manager, to find out about two new products they have.
Two new products?
Two new products.
I'll be told about one.
Well, there you go. I want to introduce you to this lovely man here, who I met a few years ago. You're new to ICOM, I believe.
I am, yes. I'm Chris, G1VDP. I started with ICOM on Monday, and literally been thrown into the breach here at Newark to
the new
products and meet the customers.
Right.
So, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, you've had a big smile on your face all weekend.
Yeah.
So it's obviously working for you.
Yeah.
Now, the thing I think everybody wants to know about is the new IC 7300. It's we got one under wraps here.
Yes.
I can't get me grubby hands on it, but yes.
No, you take it and run. That's how I've known you, Martin. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let know where you.
No, I'm not that much of a touchy geezer.
Let people know where we met, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So tell us about the new product.
Okay. If you've already got a 7300, you'll love this one. It's virtually the same, all operating, the menus, everything like that is the same. It's just the improvements. And these are what the users of the 7300, the Mark I, have asked ICOM to put into the radio. So you've got your second receive antenna, your two receive antenna sockets. You've got a LAN, so you can network it and go remote. You've got an HDMI output rather than a DVR, so you can put your display screens on it. We've changed the USB-A to a USB-C, which is more universal nowadays. And then they've improved the built-in CW decoder. They've put that into it. Improved the RMDR, the receive, the issues there were with the voice when you're transmitting, clipping and causing your antennas to not your antennas, your amplifiers to spike. They've improved the heat generation. Sorry, I'm looking down. There's that many new improvements on it. It's just
I think what you
blowing
meant,
my mind.
I think what you meant nicely, and it does sound good.
Yeah.
I think what you meant is they reduced the heat, not increased it.
Yes, they reduced the heat generation on it, and also the power consumption. They reduced that by 23%.
Yeah.
So that's when it's in standby.
Yeah. So a lovely piece of kit. I actually own a 7300. Yeah. I probably won't instantly jump to a Mark II, but I could do along the way.
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with mine.
Yeah.
And as I say, what you're saying is these are hardware enhancements that have come along.
Yes.
Rather than software enhancements, because I know software-wise it must be very similar.
Yes. Yes. There will be changes because you've got the improved software that you can use to control the radio. You can use the ICOM software. You can use the RBA one, And you could have that sat in your shack, the laptop at the side of you. You can be away on using the laptop, even with a headset on your laptop, transmitted on SSB. So the software itself inside has been improved that way. But there is also these third-party software that now works with it, where it doesn't work with the old one. I'm saying it doesn't work. It does work, but not as well as what it will with this one.
Yeah.
So you've got your remote. You can go remote with it. You can set this at home. You can be on holiday in Spain. You can operate your radios. So that's what a lot of people have been asking for, things like that. Any improvements they've asked for, Japan have listened and tried to incorporate.
Well, that sounds good, because the first time I met you was in freehold, and we're not going to go from no one again.
How we met and what have you. But
Yeah, but, you know, when you're away from the shack, the remote operation certainly sounds something interesting and sounds really good.
yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to get a proper unit so I can have a play with it and actually try that out. Certainly, at the minute, I'm commuting up and down to Herne Bay, and I can't wait. Just set one up at home, be in Herne Bay on a night, and just work from home and transmit. So I'm really excited for this, and I can't wait for it to hit the shelves, because I know you guys out there will be certainly queuing in the droves.
Yeah. Well, it's a very interesting product, and in fairness, nicely, you've got a big smiley face.
Oh,
with
yeah.
this job in Icon.
Yeah. Yes.
I do congratulate you on it.
Thank you.
I did say to Sam, you know, if I lived in Herne Bay and I wasn't part of the podcast, I might have applied for it myself. And he said to me, I wouldn't take you because you're too well known in the podcast. So have that.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
But in fairness, no, I'm being serious now. I congratulate you on
Thank you
your
very
new
much.
job.
Thank you very much, Martin.
I hope it all works out for
And
you.
so do I.
You've got some great guys. Sam's a great guy.
Yeah.
Chris Ridley over there, I've known for 20 plus
Yeah.
years. You probably have as well.
Yeah, I've known him, as I say, seen Chris on the stands at different shows.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ian, in the office,
Yeah.
our marketing guy, I've known Ian for 15, 20 years now.
Yeah.
He's a good friend. So, but he was rather surprised when I walked in into the office for the interview.
Yeah.
His face actually dropped because nobody had told him that it was me who was coming down. So,
So all in all, really good news. I wish you every success with Icon.
thank you very much, sir.
I wish you every success with the product.
Thank you.
I think it would be a good
It's
one.
not just the 7300, 7610, the 9700, the 705, the 905, all the way down. We've got an excellent product. That's all I can say.
You got a very good range. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers.
So,
And this year's UK Hamfest, there were more stands of interactivity for the attendees to enjoy. The RSGB Maker Champion Tom Wardell, 2 Echo Zero, Juliet India, details the projects on show to Chris Howard, Mike Zero, Tango, Charlie Hotel.
Okay, look, we're here still at the National Hamfest 2025 here in Newark. I'm joined by Tom Wardell, Series Zero JJI. Hi, Tom.
Hi.
And Tom, you're a fairly recent amateur and you're now the Maker Champion for the RSGB.
Yeah.
Tell us about your story and how you got that particular job.
Yeah, so last year I was approached because I have some friends that knew I did a lot of 3D printing, and they knew that I like it. I enjoy talking about 3D printing. I was approached to give a talk about 3D printing for radio. I thought, yeah, that looked interesting, thinking it would be just a small club talk or something. I ended up speaking at the RSGB convention about 3D printing for radio and using that to build tools and build cases and stands and things for the radio hobby. And off the back of that, the board approached me because they were putting together a new Maker Champion role. The idea being that it's a bridge between traditional amateur radio and the newer sort of maker community based around hackspaces and makerspaces and the sort of tool libraries that are available now, who might have projects that they want to build and want to do, but aren't radio amateurs themselves. So they might have a project that involves radio, but they are not radio.
So there's a limitation. They can't do certain things without having a license.
Yeah. but now with the rise of sort of LoRa and a lot of very capable low power unlicensed things, trying to bridge that gap of those people building those projects. For example, my friend 3D printed a remote control plane. It had a bit of an accident and vanished over the next field, as they are wont to do. But he'd fitted a small LoRa board to it with GPS. So he had a radio transmitter with its GPS location, and he went and found.
Go and find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people like that aren't really interested in getting a radio license because of the radio aspect. They're interested in what it lets them do for other things. And one of the gaps that's maybe being a bit missing is somebody to talk about that and to be a point of contact with that. And also to help people who want to build things like that do it in a safe and legal manner, even if they're not getting licensed. So like, yes, you've got a LoRa chip, and they don't necessarily need to be licensed, but a lot of the information you find online is American. They have access to the 900 megahertz band that we don't. Somebody who, like I was 18 months ago, doesn't know anything, buying from a supplier in China, trying to provide the information for, this is how you do this in the UK, this is what you can do if you're not licensed, this is what you can do if you are licensed. And hey, amateur radio is a technical hobby, always has been. There are people out there building things using radio. Let's see if we can talk to them and see.
And I guess as the mega champion, you're helping to bridge that gap between the hobbies. Now, I guess it works both ways. I guess also amateur radio people might look at this and say, in a minute, this is quite interesting. Maybe I should get involved in some of this maker stuff as well.
Yeah, so that's why I'm here for this with some things that I've made and some friends have made over the last year or so, of trying to say, even if you're a traditional amateur radio person who is sitting in their lounge talking to people on the radio, hey, you can 3D print a stand for your Kenwood handheld to make it easier to use. You can laser cut a label for your call sign, or and the maker community and the hack spaces. Not everybody can have a multi-thousand-pound laser cutter in their garage, but a lot of hack spaces have access to that sort of thing. Like, I turned up 2 weeks ago with this project and said, I need to make some labels. Can someone help me? And
I guess you club together and you can do that as an organisation rather than an individual. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Hackspace, we pay a subscription fee that goes into a pot, and they bought a very capable laser cutter that it's huge. I would never be able to have it at home. 3D printing is more accessible for people who are at home, but if you don't have the knowledge or the space, or the time, or the money, there are people who are more than willing to talk to you.
So it's not just about the kit; it's also how to actually use the thing. A bit like amateur radio in clubs. You might have just got your license. You might have just bought a radio. Need a bit of help putting it on the air.
Yeah.
Similar with this sort of thing. You may have bought a pretty 3D printer, or may not have one, but need some help in setting it up, or you may need to use somebody else's. The people will help you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you've bought a radio kit and it's got surface mount components in it, and you want to solder it together. Like, people in Hackspaces will have hot plates. They'll have the knowledge to help, which, speaking from experience, is really handy. When I again turned up with a kit and said, Richard, can you help me with this, please? And just trying to bring that aspect of, again, I think you put it correctly there, like the club ethos of making things. It doesn't matter what it is. And there's a lot of accessibility there for people involved in radio.
Right. And is your plan to do this sort? Obviously, this is a radio event.
Yeah.
Are you also going along to maker events and doing a similar thing there?
Yeah, that's our plan. I've been chatting with Mark, particularly from the board, about putting together what does it look like for the RSGB, particularly, to turn up to a non-radio focused event. Because, quite frankly, people talking into a box on the table isn't that interesting to a lot of the people who would attend that. It certainly will be to some people, but how do we broaden that scope to people who are 3D printing, people who are knitters or weavers or
So you got try and find the right angle or number of angles that may spark an interest.
attract people and go with a set of projects like you see before you about hey, maybe this is something that you might be interested in, rather than just let me talk to you about radio, which again lots of people will be interested in. But for myself at least, walking up to a table that has a set of homemade projects on it is a lot more interesting to me.
And I think also your background as a maker, you probably understand far better than us radio people do, and obviously you're doing both now, about that world and the sorts of things that people get involved with and interest them.
I think yes, but also I think that once you look around the radio world, the making ethos is there.
Right.
People build kits, people experiment, people build antennas. Not everybody, but the thing of don't buy an antenna, build your own is even as a person who just passed their foundation. It's like, oh, what antenna do I buy? Oh, you buy some wire and a ferrite, and you put it together. Like that ethos is always there, and it's always been about making and experimenting, and it's just trying to widen the scope of that to bring in the people who make in different fields.
Yeah.
And the exciting aspect is always what happens at the intersection of that. What can be built.
And I guess part of it is actually not just selling, but also listening to their viewpoints and understanding what their interests are and seeing how that overlap can work, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. People absolutely have different backgrounds, different opinions, different viewpoints, different ways of doing things that you've maybe never considered. There was a good paper, I think a year ago, somebody who knitted a patch antenna using
brilliant
metallic wool.
And who would have thought of that if you were not a knitting person? Yeah,
exactly. And unfortunately, I don't know much about it other than I read the headline and went, "That looks really cool." I should have read the paper, but just that intersectionality of skills and people and backgrounds lets you build things and be inspired to build things that you wouldn't otherwise.
Fantastic. Now look, taking a lot of your time up so far.
No,
let's not go through all of this because there's an awful lot to be brought along. Perhaps just pick out a couple of things to show us that you got on the table, because there's some pretty cool things you've got to sort of show the people here at the events.
Yeah, cool. So this part is this is a CubeSat simulator from the AMSAT folks. Alex Johnson, I think. I have forgot Alan Johnson. Sorry. Put this together as it's a Raspberry Pi with a transmitter, and it simulates the Fox series of satellites that the AMSAT folks have actually flown. The idea for this is it was lying on Mark's desk, and he said, "Do you want to build something out of this?" And I said, "Are you going to give me a satellite?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, please." So unfortunately, it's gone. The demo gods have cursed me a little bit.
That always happens, unfortunately, but light demos are always difficult, yes.
So the idea is that this broadcasts telemetry as it rotates. This is 3D printed, again, partly space with custom gauges, receives the telemetry. These are the solar panel chargers, battery.
So you've got all various gauges on there. So we'll get a picture for the video in a minute, but it's got various. It's kind of reading some of that information from the satellite and then displaying it in a certain way.
And I went for the sort of Apollo era ground control.
It actually looks pretty cool. Actually, yeah, I can see it's got a certain style as well about it.
Yeah, thanks. I got kind of obsessed with the ground control side of Apollo hardware and the switches and the dials that.
So it's not just technical; it's also a little bit into the arts as well, I suppose, design, that sort of thing.
Yeah. You can't have engineering without art. Is always a thing, and things that look good, people are more likely to enjoy using.
Hasn't got like Letraset kind of stickers on it with the power and volume and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So yeah, that was sort of going for the Apollo aesthetic, and then the one next to it This one I originally built as it's my second generation of a standalone balloon tracker.
Okay.
Altitude balloon launchers. It's got 2 Haltech radios, an SDR, GPS, 4G, Wi-Fi, and it's all self-contained, so I can just pick it up, put it in the back of the car, launch a balloon.
And track it and yeah.
Yeah, and you can, because it's got Wi-Fi, the passenger of the car can look at the phone while it's
Okay.
going along. You can load the map and things. I've repurposed it a little bit here. It's receiving the slow scan TV from the satellite.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
The satellite's off at the minute.
Right.
Again, demo is not going well. But yeah, it receives the slow scan TV as it's broadcast from the satellite, and is linked to here with sort of command and control to change between telemetry and slow scan. And for that one, I went for the 1980s cyberpunk oscilloscope.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. That one I'm pretty proud of. It's a little screen for displays of balloon telemetry as it receives it. Again, a bunch of help from a bunch of people. My 3D design came on quite a lot during that process with the help of some of my friends. Yeah, so that one in the corner is version 1 of the balloon tracker. That one works pretty well, but it has a heat problem.
Right.
If you run it for too long, there's not enough ventilation in the case. The radios start drifting frequency. They're not properly.
Well, these are things that you can adapt and iterate and fix over
That's
time.
why version 2 now.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
bigger, so I get.
Building's not so much of an issue. Yeah.
And yeah, I got my portable 3D printer.
This seems to have a lot of interest. Everyone's walking past it. I'm a good look at this and go, "Oh, what's that? Is that printing this stand for the
Yeah.
for the handheld?"
This one kind of went wrong halfway through, so I'm
Right.
reprinting it. Yep, still going.
Oh, is it doing it upside down?
Down.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So this one has a party trick. The whole thing folds in half,
Okay.
and it packs up and it fits in that flight case at the back.
Okay.
The original project was a couple of grad students that needed something portable because they couldn't get time on their university printers for whatever they were working on. So they built this and it fits inside the box that the filament comes in.
Okay.
This is a commercial variant. It doesn't quite fit. It's a Positron. But as a result of that, when they put it together, the original designs were more standard. And it's very top heavy. And as it moves around, it wobbled too much.
Right.
So they just flipped the whole thing upside down.
I see. It's a very innovative way to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Very good.
I still want to know whether they just dropped it off the desk and went,
It still works.
and now
Brilliant.
it's falling over.
There you go.
Yeah, so hopefully in the next year or so, I'm going to start putting together some content and some approaches for. In my head, I have this vision of a flow chart of basically a list of projects for if you want to do a high altitude balloon launch and you're not licensed, look here, or you are licensed, look here, and a list of
Yeah.
a list of projects that are radio associated and make heavy use of radio, but also talk about trying to be a bit more of a definitive guide to what is legal, what is safe, what components can I use, where should I get them, and try and put together something around that to try and help people who are in the same situation I was 18 months ago.
Fantastic. Well, look, great. Best of luck with the role. It sounds like you're very enthusiastic about what you're doing,
Thank you.
which is great.
Yeah.
And you certainly got people's attention here today with some of this stuff you brought along. So, yeah, I'm sure you're going to do really well. And thanks very much for the chat.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Whether it's across the pond or over the channel, the ICQ podcast is international.
Herzlich willkommen in Deutschland. 73 de España.
By amateurs, for amateurs.
Projects being promoted by Tom's Group are potential recruitment tools for new hams. Martin caught up with Jack Brown, a 14-year-old licensed operator who holds the call sign 2E1 Sierra Uniform Bravo.
I'm at the National Hamfest in the UK 2025, And I had a gentleman called Oscar, who I've known for quite a while, wander across to me and say, "Martin, you've got to talk to this gentleman, because we talk about getting youth into the hobby. We talk about all these things. This gentleman is probably the youngest person here at the Ham Show. So, without further ado, I'm going to get him to tell us who he is and his call sign, and we'll go from there. So, introduce yourself, young man."
Yeah, hello there. My name is Jack Brown. I was M7FZE, but now I'm 2 Echo 1 Sierra Uniform Bravo 2E1 SUB. So, yeah, I recently passed my intermediate exam. A pretty good pass as well. All thanks to Matt, G4 OIT's training courses. Shout out there, Matt.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. You've done a proper training course, and you obviously getting really into the hobby. Now, it's up to you whether you want to tell us how old you are, but as I say, it's great to be sitting across the table from somebody who's a hell of a lot younger than me.
Yeah, so I'm currently 14 at the moment. My birthday's in April, and I gained my foundation licence when I was 12. I was actually in school, and I asked my teacher, I said, "Sir, can I book this exam in your lesson?" He said, "Yeah, I don't see why not." And it was the end of the year, so I thought, yeah, why not? And then did my exam in school, passed by 1 mark, very luckily.
Oh, yeah. But you've obviously, you said you've done really well with your intermediate, which is good. And as I say, the intermediate now gives you quite a lot of power access. I mean, I think from memory now, the intermediate gives you 100 watts, which is what most of us would use it with a full license, even though we could use more, but at least most rigs get you there. So, what have you been up to in the hobby since you passed your test?
Well, I've been in the hobby for about nearly 2 years now. Not even that really, maybe a year and 7 months to be fair. I passed on the 27th of May, I believe it was, and I was mainly just operational on the repeaters like GB3LT and all the local repeaters to me in Tring. And yeah, then I joined the Verulam Amateur Radio Club it was about a year from then, and they very, very kindly loaned me an ICOM 7100 HF, and it does all bands, all modes, it's incredible. And so I've recently been operational on HF, which I absolutely love.
Well, that sounds good, and it sounds good you've joined a club. Now, was it funny being the youngest one in the room? I mean, there's all old men like me, and then there's a youngster like you. I take it they look after you.
Oh yeah, no, very much. It's a very, very vibrant environment, and there's a lot to do. On all the Wednesday nights, there really is a lot to do, and I never find myself getting bored.
Well, that's good news. Now, you say you're playing on HF. What's your favourite band, and what's your favourite mode?
Well, the sideband is my favourite mode because I think, for me, it just works the best. It works really well with my end-fed half wave. And 20 metres or 40 metres, I can't really decide between the two, to be honest. I think 20 metres is really good without needing a really excellent ground plane, unlike my normal end-fed half wave for 40 metres, as it bugs out a little bit. Now I can operate on the full 100 watts.
Well, that sounds good. And I know one of our other presenters, Edmund, who's wandering around the hall, he's big on 40 metres. It's probably his favourite band. And that's pretty good for the working UK. What's the furthest station you've worked so far?
Oh, well, that's actually a really good question. I don't know off by heart, to be fair. I probably should, but it was probably on FT8, or it was probably voice at the cabin, actually, when I was up the cabin on Wednesday. And I think I've worked Russia, definitely some EA7s and EA8s in Spain, Germany, some not exactly DX Gold, as they say, but it's it was all right.
Well, in fairness, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said DX means outside your own country. Now, you can argue that, and a lot of people do, but I was also talking to the gentleman you might not know is Ray Novak from ICOM America, and he said getting in the log is the most important thing. Don't worry about the signal report. If you're in the log, you're in the log.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really good way to think about it, I think. But yeah, I really do enjoy HF. I think it's really good to speak to other countries. And funnily enough, I actually speak a little bit of German. And once I was talking to a German station, and they really got quite surprised when I spoke back to them in some pretty good German.
Well, that's good. And if you ever get the chance, and you will do, you need to try and get down to Friedrichshafen, which is the biggest amateur radio show in Europe, down there in Germany. Lovely place, and I'm sure you'll thoroughly enjoy it down there as well, because you speak German.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm not all the best at German, but I know some. And yeah, I've always wanted to go to Germany. I mean, recently I went to Spain, and with my M7 licence when I still had that. Because it's only recently that I've passed my intermediate, and I actually operated with a special call, which I was granted access by. I went through the whole application, and I operated as EA7 M7 FZE. To be fair, I only used digital because I was on loan using a QRP HF, the USDX transceiver, which I think is a pretty good little neat radio, but I just don't think it had enough power with the antenna I was using on my balcony, and especially not a good enough ground plane to get out.
Oh yeah, but then at the end of the day, one thing you'll probably find is you can have what appears to be a dead band because everybody's listening. If nobody calls CQ, then everybody says it's dead. And sometimes we look at it and go, this should work really well. And other times you get in a situation where you think that should never work, and it works really well. So that's the beauty of our hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a really good hobby. And it's really, really warm and welcoming. I think there's a lot of things to do. I find that I never run out of things to do in amateur radio. One thing I do look forward to experimenting with in the future is digital analog TV. I know that the Dunstable Downs group, shout out Dunstable Downs group, has a has a TV repeater, and I'd like to use that in the future.
Okay, no problems. Well, the guys that do TV would obviously welcome you on board, the British Amateur Radio TV guys, and our hobby's so big that I'm sure you'll find many things to play in your enjoyment of our hobby.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, recently I've been experimenting with Meshcore on the 868 megahertz band, which is actually license free, as many people know, but I've set up a repeater for Meshcore, and I'm running that at the moment, which is quite interesting. It's messaging over 868.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, with a lot of these things keep happening all the time, and things change. I mean, 20 years ago, half the things that we do now weren't available. And I was talking to a gentleman just before you arrived, and he said he came back to the hobby, and he found although he got a full license, there were so many things he didn't know about because new developments. So it's an exciting time for you.
Yeah, there is a lot going on in amateur radio, especially in 2025. I mean, the new FTX 1X Optima has just come out. I think that's an incredible radio. If I ever get the chance to play with one, which I have recently, shout out to G7HMV and his FTX 1X Optima. Had a little play with that. It is a really nice radio. There's a lot more going on. I think ICOM and Yaesu, they're all coming out with really good new products that they're very, very able to do a lot of the stuff that I need.
Oh yes, oh yeah, that's a good one. So, I think you said you were going to go for your full license. It's not a race. It was just if you're going to do it when you're ready. But how are you feeling about going for a full license?
Well, I mean, I passed my intermediate, and I'm really, really happy about that. And I think I'm going to keep the momentum moving while I can. So I'm going to keep studying, keep working towards it, and eventually I'll be a full license, which is going to be amazing for my age. I think that's a really big sort of thing to do at my age, and I think it might also help me with diversification when I get a job. Maybe one day I can say, oh, well, look, I'm an amateur radio operator.
Okay, so interestingly, you mentioned getting a job. I think this is a very difficult question because I know what it was like when I was similar to your age. I thought I was going to do a particular job when I left school, and when I left school I did something completely different. What would you like to do when you go into employment? What sort of industry?
Well, to be honest, maybe not within amateur radio, but definitely on the tech side of things. I've been interested in technology since I was even like 2 or 3 years old. I got my first computer when I was, I think, 3.5 it was, and I've been playing around a lot since then. I've learned a lot on my way, but I think possibly definitely something to do with software, and I'm really excited for that.
Well, if you can do software, which is one thing I'm absolutely rubbish at, there's a lot of things happening in amateur radio that software-defined radios are now becoming the most popular thing.
Yeah, no, I think they are really, really cool, especially the Xiegu G90. I actually entered the Moonraker raffle in attempts to win that, because I've had my eyes on that radio for quite a while for going portable, because I love the antenna tuner that it's got in it, and especially the 20 watts. I think that is really good. But yeah, I actually applied in that draw, as I said, and that's an SDR. There's a lot to do, I think.
There certainly is, and I own the G90 as well, a very good radio. Okay, I've kept you a fair while. What last things, where would people find you? I don't want you to give their home address or whatever, but what club do you go to if people wanted to contact you?
Well, to be honest, I'm in the Tring area, local Leighton Buzzers specifically. You can find me on the HF bands, VHF, UHF, local repeaters, and hopefully soon digital analog TV, which would be amazing.
Well, that's good news. Listen, I'm going to thank you very much for your time, and I'm going to wish you every success in this wonderful hobby, and keep enjoying it.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to, if I can quickly shout out a couple of people from my radio club. I'd like to shout out Greg, M0YGL, Matt, G4IYT, Matt, G7HMV, J2E0JML for driving me to the Hamfest and back, very kind of him, and buying me a lovely burger and chips lunch. Oscar, 2E1HWE for making it a really good day and doing the Gateways on the Air night. Who else can I think of? Will, 2E0OWM, and Ambrose, 2E0KOF, and Tom, the final one, I believe, 2E0KOF. No, sorry, I got Ambrose's call wrong. That's 2E0SQD, and Tom is 2E0KOF.
Right. Well, that's a good shout out to a lot of people. And I'm going to say this for you. If you've missed anybody, it's an apology, because when you're sitting in front of me with a microphone pushed up under your nose and you're trying to think, I think you've done an absolutely brilliant job. So if anybody thinks they've been missed, don't beat this young man up. He's done far better than ever I could have done at his age. So thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it. It's been really good. A massive shout out to everyone at the VART Club. It's been incredible, and thanks for helping me succeed in amateur radio. 73, everyone.
Yeah, 73.
Keep your amateur ham radio podcast advert free by donating less than a length of coax. Visit www.icqpodcast.com/donate now. For all the news, links and information, visit www.icqpodcast.com.
From the young to the vintage, Martin caught up with Stuart McKinnon from the Vintage Military Amateur Radio Society to discuss their work across the various military services.
Well, hi guys. Second day at the National Hamfest, and I decided it'd be nice to sit outside in the sunshine with our Stuart from VMARS, who I normally catch inside. And we got a nice backdrop of all the bits and pieces behind us. Stuart, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And talking about the backdrop, well, actually, we can thank Pam, Mike 3 Whiskey Oscar Lima, for that. It's her station. She's doing our outside display for VMARS this year, and that's Rosie, by the way, Pam's service dog. Be quiet, please, Rosie. Thank you. And she's a working dog, by the way. She's a search dog, and she still currently looks after finding missing people, which is a very useful tool to have Rosie in Pam's collection.
Certainly sounds it. And a quick look through the vehicle.
Yes.
She looks a lovely German Shepherd.
She is indeed, Rosie. I believe she's 7 years of age. We were talking about her yesterday, and we went out last evening for a meal, and she was very, very polite and sat nicely in the car while we had our Italian, so that went down very well. We had a great day yesterday, Martin, by the way.
Yeah.
First day of the Hamfest, loads of people here. I've never seen a queue so long in my life. So there was quite a bit of commitment to the Hamfest yesterday, and today we're not doing too bad so far. We've had a flurry of people coming through, lots and lots of visitors to our internal stand for VMARS, and lots of happy people.
Yeah. I mean, we were here yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, I was a bit naughty. Chris went round and did most of the interviews, and I just spent a great day chatting to people. There's lots of our listeners coming up saying, I've seen you in a video, I've heard you on the podcast, and it was very, very sociable day yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a social event. We have obviously our VMARS members turning up, but the wider amateur radio community, there are so many people that we know from various groups, individual radio amateurs, people who we worked on radio in the various locations that we've been, and of course we wear several hats, myself and the good lady, not only VMARS, RAFARS, and we're right next door to the RAFARS stand. I look after the RAFARS station at RAF Cosford. Everyone's welcome by pre-invitation, by email. Drop me a mail, everybody. Royal Signals we're involved with heavily, and again we'll be down at Royal Signals on Thursday at Blandford Forum. They're all doing their bit now, and they're all pulling together actually, Martin, for obvious reasons. And we're busy, and we don't stop.
Well, that's good. And the thing that I'm impressed about is that a lot of now amateur groups, because we have contracted slightly as a hobby, but a number of the groups are now working together for the common good, and that's good. I mean, okay, if I wanted to talk to VMARS, you are quite happy to talk about that sort of thing, and that's, to me, is one of the good things that's happening in the hobby.
Well, Public Relations Officer is my title for VMARS. I'm former chairman, former dog's body and all. Do a lot of things, and we have many members, by the way, and fellow committee members that do a lot of hard work. So let's not forget that important point. 600 plus members. Everybody's got something to bring to the party, and when we have defence workers, veterans, current service personnel, we pretty much have everyone in the society, not only normal radio amateurs, tri-service members from all three services, and the list is endless. Historians, you name it. We've got people that have got a wealth of talent out there. And you talked about clubs and societies cooperating. This is what I'm finding is happening now. Post-COVID, people are now consolidating and putting their bits and pieces together and organising stuff on air. I mean, for example, we've got newly formed bunkers on the air. We've got WAB still doing their bit. We've got so many different groups within the amateur radio community complementing the hobby, and it's fantastic to see.
Yeah. And I know before COVID hit, we started talking about hubs, not clubs, where you would have a coming together of multiple clubs into kind of a bigger hub. And that sounds like it's kind of happening. All right, you're not using the same terminology, but it sounds like it's happening, which is, I think, good, because, you know, if you've got a bigger group, you've got more diversity in people's knowledge and somebody to help you.
Well, absolutely, because that's what amateur radio is all about. We bounce off each other. We learn from each other all the time. And, you know, there's always something you don't know. I mean, we don't know everything. So, you know, if you spot a chappie at the rally or a lady at the rally, a YL, and you know that they're experienced in, I don't know, moon bounce or Morse telegraphy or slow scan television, you know you can talk to those, you know you can pick up a few hints and tips, and that's the way it works. And as I say, that wealth of talent is out there to be tapped by anybody wanting to come into amateur radio. And amateur radio is still a great social aspect of the world. And don't forget, we're not only talking to people in this country. I mean, yesterday we're on the microphone here, and we were talking to Slovenia. That was one we did, and we did another one in France. We did a local net here this morning on the AM net for VMARS every Saturday morning, 8:30, 3.615. So the world is your oyster, really, and it's up to people, and it's always teaching or self-learning, should I say. So you're always striving for that extra bit of information, and technical bits is my particular thing. I like to try and find out how to repair things, and all the hints and tips that go along with vintage equipment, which is what VMARS is all about.
Yeah. Well, you talk about sort of explaining and helping people. We went to breakfast this morning in our hotel, and there was a guy, I think with his wife and daughter, and he'd been in the Air Cadets many years ago, And he was like, so you're amateur radio guys? I went, yeah. And he ended up spending about 10 minutes asking me about it. I've given him one of my cards so he can talk to me, and I'll pass him to the right people. But, you know, there are people out there interested in what we do.
Well, this is where it stems from, and I'm glad you mentioned Air Cadets, which of course now we've got Royal Air Force Air Cadets. That's the new name, RAFAC.
Yeah.
And I'm a former Air Cadet, Cadet Warrant Officer. But of course I jumped ship and joined Her Majesty's Grenadier Guards, but that's another story. But you know, your life, I'm a firm believer to say that your life is planned out for you, Martin. And you know, RAFAC doing a great job, Army Cadet Force do a great job, Combined Cadet Force. And these people, by the way, are our communicators of the future. And we're putting more effort into cadets now, with the MOD playing money into them. And again, for obvious reasons. So, yeah, it's big time that they're learning, and they're doing very well. And we get lots of students coming on air, typically as like exercise Blue Ham. Blue Ham we do a couple of 3 times a year, and we're lucky on RAFAR's council, as a matter of fact, to have Wing Commander David. I won't give his surname, but he's a real top-notch, deals a lot with cyber, stuff like that, and that's our link between us and RAFAC. So there's always a link out there that we can tap into.
Yeah. And you say the youngsters come in, the Homie, the Army Cadets, the Air Cadets, and the equivalent naval operation.
Yes.
They're youngsters, but if they're learning our technology, you know, they're our future. And some of them will come into amateur radio, some of them won't. But what I often say to people is, even with the license-free radio, the 446s, if the children and that have had a play with them,
Yes.
at least they won't feel lost if there's an emergency.
It's a confidence builder, isn't it? Confidence builder. You know, you get involved with radio. I mean, my experience as a child, probably at the age of about, 10, 11 years of age, of course he could copy airband. An oceanic airband, and it was absolutely wonderful. So I fell in love with shortwave listening. Chappie at the back of our house, he'd got this small Blackpool tower, which was a wooden thing that was about 60 foot tall with a H thing on the top. I hadn't got a clue what it was, but it spun round every day. And then when I was introduced by his son to his dad, and he used to work a lot of DX to Australia and New Zealand. So progressing in cadets, aviation, communications, it all pieced together, and that's where we are today. But we're still learning. You're absolutely right. And you mentioned Royal Naval colleagues as well, not to be forgetting Royal Naval Amateur Radio Society. They're also out there, based at Collingwood, and they provide a lot of help and information for people want to join future Royal Navy, etc.
Yeah. So as I say, there's a lot going on, and as I say, a lot happening in this world. And I know the RSGB are trying to get youngsters into the hobby as well, and the cadets, the scouts, all, if they get some experience, then they'll have enjoyment.
Well, let me give you an example. We had a young man come into RAFARS, and he was training in the Royal Air Force for a particular role. And he rang me up one day, or he emailed me, I forget now. He said, I'd like to come, I'm not too far away, can I come? And he came into the shack. I showed him around the shack, told him, briefly what we do. He'd already been licensed, got his license with another club down on the south coast there. And I got him in the chair, HF, put him on the microphone, and he was so sheepish to begin with. And I said, look, you've got to be forceful, you've got to project your voice, let the other people hear you. I couldn't get him off the radio after 45 minutes. So he got well into it. And it's experience, isn't it? It's practice, it's confidence building. And if you can get any of these youngsters, as you mentioned again a short time ago, Martin, any of the groups into communications, doing the communications badges, putting them on the air, under supervision, of course, it's most important safeguarding aspect, under supervision, get them on air, get them talking to someone, and their little faces will light up when they're talking to George in Nebraska, or Clive in Colombo or somewhere. So the world is your oyster again, and we're glad to be part of that.
Yeah. Now, I used to, it's kind of fallen by the wayside. Don't beat me up for this. I used to be a radio operator on HMS Belfast. until things changed there. Now, we did invite a lady and her husband, Dorothy from Essex Hams. Dorothy's a lovely lady, and we said to her she couldn't go home until she filled up 3 pages of the logbook.
All right.
Now, she's a great operator. Dorothy, you can't keep operator, and she's a great operator. She almost did it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? And to be fair, at home, I no longer keep a logbook because I very rarely operate at home now. Maybe once or twice a week. I do most of my operating out and about and at Gosford and at Blandford and wherever I go. But it is nice to see people filling up logbooks, and that's just a point for HF operators. When I'm running a station such as Golf 8 Fox Charlie from Royal Air Force Gosford, I like to take a short list because sometimes your call sign is wanted quite badly, and you get a bit of a pile up. So I always ask for the last 2 or last 3 letters of the call. I make a short list. I tell people I'm going to be quick. I'll come back to you when I can shortly, and we do it that way. So you get as many people in the log. So in a half an hour period, I've done about 15 stations. All you need is 60 seconds or so. Find out that Tom is in Northampton and he's just newly licensed, and have a chat and welcome him to the hobby. Give him a good signal report. He's probably running a kilowatt, but who cares? But I hasten to add we only regularly just about run 100 watts at that aforementioned place. But no, it's again, it's experience. And the thing about amateur radio is no day is the same as the following one. It's always different, and you're always speaking to different people, which is fantastic.
Yeah, you're dead right. You're dead right. So I think, and I know you and I talked about this off camera, probably about 3 years ago, and we were starting to feel that things were going a bit awry. But I think from what you've said today, I feel very positive for where the hobby's going.
Well, with the backing of the RSGB and other groups who are ploughing money and effort into the hobby, and we've got some leading dealers as well, traders, or what do we call them? What do we call the dealers? The dealers. They're putting it out there. They've got good websites to look at. There's lots of information online for people to learn and get experience. Local radio clubs. You can always go and do your novice and your foundation course at your local radio club. In fact, Anne, my other half, as you know Anne very well, M3TBI, I think it was 2 or 3 Saturday mornings, and she got her licence alongside a local police officer. So she had to be on her best behaviour, but she enjoys it. And again, Martin, Anne was pretty much mic shy when she first came into the hobby, but now I can't get her off it sometimes. But, that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not knocking Anne because I'm sure she we were all mic shy, let's be honest.
Indeed.
She's a lovely lady. Right, Stuart, I'm not kept you a long time. It's a lovely day out here. I could stay out here all day, but I'm going to have to do some more work. So thank you very much for your time. If people want to contact you, I'll let you give the VMARS website out again.
Absolutely. People can contact any of us on the VMARS committee via www.vmars.org. Or just put in VMARS, it's Victor Mike Alpha Radio Sierra, VMARS. In your search engine, you'll find us. We'd be happy to help. But it's been great to see you and the team, Martin, and we look forward to another successful Hamfest next year.
Yeah, we certainly do. And I thank you very much for your time, Stuart.
Not a problem.
I know you're a busy person.
Not a problem. Thank you, Martin.
Whilst there are many vendors at the show, sometimes a story appears right in front of you. We met Paul Newcomb, November 2, Echo Mike Echo, who introduced us to the SDR switch.
Well, hi guys, and I'm walking around the show. This is the first interview on video I've done at the show today, but I walked around and I found this man with a box and it says SDRswitch.com. Interesting little box, as you can see. Come on, sir, tell me what it's all about.
Well, the idea behind the SDR switch was so that you can have an SDR receiver and your normal radio. Other companies have manufactured them, but one thing that they didn't take into account was I come from a VHF background. So what matters to me is losses. Yeah. And with the SDR switch, as you can see from the relays, we're using serious relays in there with very low losses and very high isolation. That means let's take the old MFJ one for instance. You know, they did a great product, but the insertion loss on their relays was very high. On 430 megahertz, it was 19 dB, which is the equivalent to turning your stereo down from 100 to 1. On this particular version, and we do 4 or 5 different versions, on this particular version, the insertion loss is 0.8 dB. So basically, you're not going to see this switch. So what this switch does, if we look on the front of it, we have 4 BNCs. We have an antenna, we have the transmitter RX out, RX in. Obviously, that goes to your antenna. This goes to your radio. When you transmit, the signal goes from your transmitter to the antenna. But when you receive, it comes to this RX out. This means you can bring it to your SDR and you can run SDR Play and their SDR Connect software, or you can run SDR Console with a SDR of your choice. And I don't just mean as a pan adapter.
Right.
Most people, when they look at SDRs, they think, oh, they're pretty pictures. I'm sorry. You and I discussed the ICOM 9700, which I have a 9700. I have an RSPDX2. It's a better receiver. It's far more sensitive as a receiver, and I see more things on it than I do on my 9700. And I love my ICOM 9700.
Yeah.
But when you look at SDRs, they're not pan adapters, they're receivers. So with this box, it allows you to receive on both your SDR, and if you choose to go back in where it says RX in, you can receive also on your 9700, your 7300, any radio of your choice. And you're not going to notice this switch. So one of the biggest problems with the other SDR switch on the market is high isolation, high insertion loss, low isolation.
Yeah.
You can pick up one from various companies for £35 off the internet, and you'll be buying a new SDR Play next week because the isolation between the transmission and the receive signal is so bad. You're just going to get too much power through.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And yeah, I'm a VHF person myself as well. It's an interesting box. And you're right in what you say. It is, looking at it as the first inspection I got on it, quality components. The board is nicely laid out. The board could be repaired by pretty much anybody because the surface mount components are a reasonable size. But it's quality. And if you've got a low insertion loss, when you're starting up VHF and UHF, that's more important. I've used the MFJ product, very happy with it down at HF, but I never used it at VHF and UHF because I was using it with a Kenwood TS 590. So this is an interesting product.
Yeah, and I love the MFJ. I love it as a company. They were a great company and fantastic market. It's just, this was aimed at a different market. It was aimed at the HFer or the VHFer who wanted to be able to control things rather than everything being in one box. So if we look on the back, one of my biggest markets is Parks on the Air.
Yeah.
They want all the cables the same because when they go out portable, things break, and guarantee whatever breaks is the one cable you don't have. So if we look at the back of it, we have the 12 volt DC.
Yeah.
We have the PTT. We have an amp and we have an LNA. Obviously, the 12 volt DC powers the switch. The PTT takes the PTT from your radio and keys the SDR switch. Why don't we have RF sensing? RF sensing fails too often.
Right.
When it fails, it takes out lots of dollars worth of equipment. And it's a great idea, but I don't want to have to, as a radio ham, I don't want to have to keep repairing amplifiers because the RF sensing failed.
Too right, because if you have to keep repairing them, the tracks are going to go eventually or lift off the board. Now, it's an interesting product. You say that this is not the only product you built to market. So tell us a bit more about this one and the other products you've done.
Absolutely. Well, this one, as you can see, has the blue Toshiba relays in it. I mean, absolutely wonderful relays, but they are very, very expensive. And you need them. This one is a 0 to 450 megahertz. It'll go up to 1,000, but I sell as 0 to 450. The other ones I sell are 0 to 70 megahertz. You don't need these relays on 0 to 70 megahertz. So I produce a box that's slightly cheaper to the buyer because they don't need to waste money on expensive relays. If you're only going up to 70 megahertz, you can get enough isolation from a normal relay.
Yeah.
This one allows you, it's a 4 BNC, so I call this dual receive. You can receive on both your rig and your SDR. And remember, we're talking SDRs aren't pan adapters, they're receivers. And that's a big difference to get over in your head, that it's going to be as good as your rig, if not better. So, and then you can feed back in and receive on both your radio. So it's dual receive, your radio and your SDR. I do one with 3 BNCs because some people realize they don't want to receive on their radio. They're happy just to receive on their SDR. So on that particular one, it's a single receive on your radio, transmit on your SDR. And then for the HF guys, this was something that's very new to me. The HF guys are very much into loops on the ground to keep the noise down. And so they asked me to come out with a switch that will give them a receive-only antenna. That you transmit on your normal transmitting antenna, and then when you go to receive, it goes to your loop on your ground, and that way you can have a low noise receiver antenna. Yeah. And that was all new to me. The HF guys have had to teach me how that works because I've never done HF in my life.
Well, that's interesting, and please don't take this the wrong way. I've said this many times. The more you know about this hobby, the more you realise just how little you know. And everybody helps everybody and everybody teaches. Interesting products. As I wrap this up for today, I was rather rude because I didn't introduce you properly with your name, and give us your name and where you can find these on the internet.
Absolutely. I'm Paul, N2EME, and you can find them, as it says, sdrswitch.com. And in the UK, Martin Lynch sell them. And I ship all around the world. They go all over the place every week.
Well, that's good. That's good news. Listen, kept you for quite a while. I'll say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
And best of luck with your product sales.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The ICQ Amateur Ham Radio Podcast, serving the amateur ham radio community fortnightly since 2008.
We wrap up the first part of our review of UK Hamfest with the rejuvenated Kanga products. Martin discussed a range with the new owner, Paul Webb, Mike Zero, Bravo Mike November.
Well, it's coming close to the end of the show here in Newark, and I've just arrived on the Kanga stand. And fortunately, the gentleman sitting next to me has done me a mega favour by saying, why don't we do this sitting down? And my poor legs are really, it's hard work on the legs here.
It's been 2 days, isn't it?
Yes.
It's been 2 days.
Yeah. So I'm going to be rude and say, introduce yourself and how long have you been in the hobby?
Okay, well, my name's Paul Webb. Run Kanga now for about 3-4 years. Started a kit company before called Phoenix Kits. And that was going okay, well. But Kanga sort of came up for sale. A name that all of us have known for about 30 years now. And it was a pity to see that go by the wayside. And so we took over, and we've now got quite an extensive, about 40 different kits that we offer under that Kanga name.
Well, I was looking at your stand, and in fairness, you have got an impressive number of kits. I don't remember this many kits a couple of years ago. So, you know, you're obviously doing a lot of development work.
Yeah, I mean, this is now my full-time job. It started really as an extension to an hobby, and that progressed and progressed. I helped run the 5th CW club, and we decided we'd make, at the time, a simple Morse tutor for the members. That got added more and more features over the years, more and more requests for new kits, and so we bit the bullet and went self-employed, and that started with the Phoenix kits, and now, as I say, we've moved on to run Kanga.
Which is good, because you kept an original amateur name in, and Ian Keyser was here early. Well, he was here yesterday.
Yeah, virtually, I think I know all the pre-runners to myself. And what's nice is we all get along well.
Well, there's no reason why we shouldn't, really.
No.
We're all amateurs. We're all in it for the same thing.
That's right.
So it's good.
Yeah.
So looking along the line, you've got multiple kits. I can see a Morse tutor.
Yeah.
I can see a nice little ATU. But tell us the range of kits you do.
Okay. Well, it did start, say, from fists. So there's certainly a strong CW influence, shall we say.
Yeah.
So there's no real apologies for that. It's a mode that I love, and it's a mode that I want to try and keep alive. So we have a range of various Morse tutors for people who are learning from scratch, no knowledge at all, to people who are just trying to top up the speed a little bit. That's sort of the one side of the products that we offer. Along to that, again, CW, there's a lot of people interested in summits on the air, parks on the air, and all those sort of people around, lots of people doing various activities. So we've started doing ATUs, which are quite suitable for that sort of use, field use. And more recently, we've moved over to produce a couple of transceiver kits. Very, very simple. If you know the Pixie, which was a very easy one, would be like a Pixie that's on steroids. There's active audio filtering. There's more filtering on the front end. It uses a proper mixer, 2 watts of RF rather than half a watt, quarter of a watt, whatever you were getting. And like the Pixie, it does come in a nice solid aluminium case. Virtually all our kits are cased. From my own days, going back when we used to build kits, as a hobby, you spend as much buying a case as you would as the kit, and it never looked professional. So we try and do professional looking cases for all our kits.
Yeah, and in fairness, if you're building a kit, and I love to build this sort of stuff myself. Don't get as much time to do it these days as I used to. And I know you're ragging me that I ought to look at your beginners kits, but no, nicely. But having a proper case for it. If a kit has got a case, I will always buy it with the case because it finishes it off. If you want to use this kit after you built it, you don't want it hanging around. I mean, I built one of those cheap Pixies, and it works. And it lives in a mini sandwich box. It never comes out unless I'm showing somebody this is what you can do for the square root of nothing. But it ain't going to go on the air ever again.
No, I know. That's it. I mean, if you build it, you've invested a little bit of money in something, you may as well have something that you can keep and will be of use to you. They're never going to replace something like the Asus and the Icoms of this world. But the price tag doesn't even match that even. If you start looking at enjoyment for the pound, I think you're hard pushed to beat a little homebrew circuit often. You've got the feeling that you've accomplished something yourself. You actually built it and it works. That's worth a lot of S points.
Certainly is. Certainly is. I remember just because I was coming into the hobby, because I was late entrance for various reasons. But just as I was coming in, I built they're not around now, but a house kit.
Yes. Yeah.
One of their shortwave receivers. Mm-hmm. And I first switched it on to the station in Germany, and I had a bit of old wire hang out at the back of the antenna socket. It wasn't anything special.
Yeah.
Smile from ear to ear. You're right. It's the achievement of you've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've all been there. Ours, Lake Electronics, built virtually all of their range. It's the only thing I feel sorry for is now the amount of kit companies around has depleted virtually down to zero. There's myself. I think you've got Walford Electronics. There may be one or two others as well. But all of us are running these companies. They're all getting older, and I do fear for the future really because it's an important part of the hobby.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I worry a lot about when I left school, I went to work for Philips in their television factory in Croydon. It's no longer there. And you had to complete a week in their training centre before you got a job.
Yeah.
And you had 2.5 days of learning how to solder properly. Now you smile, and then the other half was we didn't have electric screwdrivers, we had ratchet screwdrivers and 1 pin. So it was basic how to use tools and how to solder. And then I look at YouTube videos of people building things, and I think, for God's sake, you don't know how to solder.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. One thing what does help with this, I used to be a STEM teacher, and we did do a little bit of electronics at secondary school level. Now there's an awful lot of build-a-thons initiative. RSGB are actively pushing build-a-thons. British Science Week.
Yeah.
These are the sort of activities I think really as an amateur community we really need to encourage, because it's bringing on new people into the hobby. And it's one of these hobbies, I'm afraid. The band space, the airwaves are very commercial if they want to be. They could be. And we'll lose them if we don't use them.
Yeah. Well, I remember in the old days when we used to do practicals in the exams, and I was teaching, I've taught a number of both foundation and intermediate. And for intermediate, you have to build something.
Yeah.
And to prove that they actually built it, we used to buy this little receiver kit, medium wave receiver kit. Yeah. Nothing too clever. And it's great because if we've got 20 people building it, I can fault find the same thing 20 times. Yeah. I can't fault find 20 different devices. Yeah. And the number of people, when you show them how to solder properly and suddenly they're like, that's how it's done.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it was there was a Christian radio station half a mile away. So it didn't matter how bad they built it. They always received this is good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like you just said about building like the Pixie and things like that. In the UK, we get swamped with a lot of commercial local radio stations, and that does cause problems for home brewers nowadays. The Pixie where I live, all I can get is a local BBC station, no CW at all. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? We try and encourage people now to build more. It's important that they build something that works.
Yeah.
So that they don't go away thinking, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
So we do try and make sure the kits that we do are suitable for, not necessarily for, some of them are first time kit builders projects, but we try and make sure we've got sufficient instructions there to get them going and it works. And I'm always only an email or a phone call away anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's good news. And you have I would suggest 30 or 40 different kits you produce now. So it's
30 to 40 kits. There's always more coming. We reaching the point, being a one-man company, that just fulfilling the day-to-day orders, sorting out stuff for events, is getting to the point, saturation point to put the development time in. But always seem to manage to, one more kit always seems to be coming out.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure she's sitting at the back with a little smile on her face. The good lady is probably very, very helpful to you.
I couldn't do it without her, really. She's the one who builds 90% of the kits when we do a built kit. And also my chief packer, and also the post lady as well, doing all the post runs. Our local post office kept quite busy.
Yeah, certainly. Now, possibly you've already said this at some point in time to others. I'm going to ask you, if somebody is interested and wanted to build one of these kits, where would they find you? Where's your website and how do they contact you?
Okay. We do have a website, www.kanga-products.co.uk. But to be honest, if you just Google Kanga Products, you'll find us. We've got quite well known on the web now, I'm glad to say, having been around for 30 years at that name.
Yeah. So that's good news. Now, I'm not going to keep you forever because possibly we're frightening people away from your stand, because these orange shirts tend to frighten people. Not really, but anyway, I'm going to let the customers come back. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
And enjoy the rest of the show.
We will. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The ICQ Podcast. Come for a moment. Stay for an hour.
Well, everybody, I really hope you enjoy this special episode, your episode 465 of the ICQ Amateur Radio Podcast, where we've given a lovely review there of the start of UK Hamfest. Myself, Edmund, Chris and Dad Martin really enjoyed our trip to Newark this year. Lots of things to see, lots of things to play with, etc. And Mrs. B was also thoroughly entertained, looking after our stand for us as we ran around and got these interviews for you, and spoke to many of you as well as our listeners. So as I really do appreciate. Standout product obviously was the ICOM 7300 Mark II. But certainly other news stories as well, and I really enjoyed what the RSGB was doing with their Maker stand, Dad. So what was your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it was great fun. And, the ICOM interview I did with the new 7300 was good fun. But it was also good fun catching up with Chris, their new employee, that, you probably heard in the interview. We had a bit of fun, and I've known Chris for about 4 or 5 years now. And it was a bit of a laugh, but he's a good guy, an asset to ICOM. And, the Maker thing was great. I know Edmund also enjoyed that. So, good. It was a good day.
Yeah, we've got the second part of that coming up in the next episode, where Edmund will be playing around with one of the new projects that team are working on, so we'll bring that there. And then, of course, on top of that, I say such a warm interview with Stuart from VMARS that you did there. And then we find out about new products from SDR Switch and Kanga, which are rejuvenated as well back into the hobby. So again, there was life. There was life, to say, being breathed into the hobby, which is very important.
Yeah. I mean, it was my ignorance. Let's be honest about it. My ignorance and my lack of understanding. But Kanga have got quite a few nice kits. Haven't built any of the current ones, but what I saw on display on the stand looked very, very interesting. And secondly, when I spoke to the gentleman from Kanga, he also is of the same opinion of me. If you're going to make a kit and you want to use it rather than just build it and put it in a box and forget about it, he produces some great cases for the kit. So that gives you a final usage of a device once you've made it, Colin.
Yeah, so obviously, as I say, we really hope you enjoyed this first part of our roundup for UK Hamfest. Second part coming up next week in our usual scheduled episode, and I hope you appreciate this special release of the news there from the show. Please do consider supporting your ICQ podcast. I mentioned at the start of the show, mention it again. All the presenters paid their own way, all the time to produce the show, etc., all out of their own time. So please help us keep this show advert free by showing any value you got from today's episode by visiting our special webpage, icqpodcast.com/donate. We say really do appreciate you showing the value you got for the show that way. So please do consider us. We'll be back, say, in a week's time, back on our normal release schedule with the second part of our interviews from UK Hamfest. I really hope you look forward to that there. So in the meantime, I'm going to bid you 73s, and I'm very happy to say 73s from EI M1MRB this week here in Ireland.
Yes, certainly have been. I've been on the talk group. Not many people went on the talk group, but those who caught me on the talk group have caught me as EI/M1MRB. And great fun, guys. Look after yourselves, and we'll catch you, as Colin says, next week. 73.
73s.